Hello and welcome to the building of this Fokker DR1. As you can see, I've tidied the wings up somewhat from the build the other day. They've all been capped, barring some capping here, and obviously I still have to resolve how the cabane's going to be attached. I think I've got some ideas, more of that on another video I think. There's the evidence of the tidy up to come. So, as you can see, upper wing's done, but they're lacking that distinctive scallop. So, I'm going to do it by I've produced a little template, marked off the trailing edge position, and I've tried it on a couple and they look about right. So, I'm going to cut these scallops out, and by doing so, I think we'll start making it look like a Fokker triplane. Without these, it just isn't, is it? So that's that position for there. To look along here, that's going to need to be trimmed in. I'll mark a couple more. I suspect there will need to be some infilling done here on the final just do that for now. I think that's going to need to be infilled in there. Yeah, maybe one more. Okay, so I'll cut this out and we'll see what it looks like. Hopefully we'll start to get something that's got a little bit more character to it. Let's find the chopping board. I'll just pause it while I find it. And let's cut them out. I'll cut a little bit, just a touch on the inside. And I can always sand to the line. The old adage, easier to take off than to put back on, so I've managed to obtain some wheels for this. So the undercarriage needs to be tackled, and the lower wing, the wing inter wheel wing. I've looked at a few designs. The one that I have some drawings for, the 1/4 scale, I'm not happy with at all in terms of how it attaches. Well, that's just a pencil. How that attaches to the undercarriage, because I don't see any visible means for it to have a firm grip on the undercarriage, which wouldn't work, would it? So I'm open to ideas. It has been suggested to me that the idea of having a sprung undercarriage is a bit of a waste of time and more trouble than it's worth, and in fact makes the ground handling more difficult. So I'm at that sort of making my mind up stage regarding the undercarriage. I'm open to suggestions if anybody has them. I'll listen to them all. So there we go. That looks better already, doesn't it? Now these need to be cut out, and I suspect these are going to be more troublesome because it's 2 layers, and I'm going to need to infill when I do so. Let's cut it out and see what one of them comes out like. I'm cutting through the lower layer now. Yeah, there's a little gap there, which actually I don't even know if I do need to fill it. Wow, wow, wow. There we go. Whoop, toes. I'll cut the rest of those out, clean them up, and then we'll see what it looks like. I'm busy here using the same template to cut out some fillers for the bird mouths that have been formed by cutting out the scallops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's more than I need there. So basically what I have to do is put them in, but they'll need a taper on them. I'll just rough that out with a blade to begin. And I've committed to sanding in the house now, so I'm also damned to tidy up afterwards, so I might as well make more mess. Right, I'll push that in. Use a knife to do, oh, blunt end probably is a better idea. Needs a little bit more off there. Oh, wrong side. Let's try that. And I'll put these in with some white glue. There you go. Ideal that, it protrudes out slightly. Bit of glue, clamp on there, and then I can sand that away. Right, I'll crack on with that now. Well, there we have it, folks. That's the upper wing tidied up. Although it's not finally finished in terms of sanding, still much to do. The servos need to be installed, or the servo plates. And the next thing I have to do is decide how the cabanes are going to attach to the wing. And I think I've come up with a solution now. So what I'm going to do, let's just zoom in and explain how it was formerly done. You can see there that what you have is a wooden cabane strut, 2 at the rear, and there were 2 at the front which have gone the distance, they've been destroyed. And these were glued in place inside a block that went inside the wing. And the front one and the rear one were joined together with a joining piece of wood. And the whole thing was glued in. And that's because in the flare design, the upper wing and the middle wing are permanently attached together. Now that quite appeals to me, as long as I can fit it in the car easily. And I need to check that before I go any further. So I'm not going to actually do it yet, or I'm not going to actually finish this off until I've got the undercarriage on. Once the undercarriage is on, I can feel the space that I have in the car to load it up easily. Whether it stays together or not, this is how I'm going to produce the cabane structure. These wooden uprights will be replaced with aluminium bar, which I've now got. And I'm going to use this 1/8 plate brass to make a plate that will go in here, and one obviously on the other side. And to that, we'll have the rear one attached and the forward one below the wing. I'm going to drill 2 holes in the plate and solder on some fixed nuts so that it can be screwed together. That'll mean that I can take it apart if I wish to do so. This rib, and obviously the corresponding rib on the other side, are made of plywood. These were actually the templates that I used to cut the upper wing ribs out. This plate will be bolted on and reinforced to make sure that this is a strong structure. And I'm confident that with the aluminium struts, rear and front, it won't have a repeat of its earlier accident, which I think decommissioned this model. The other thing, I'll just put that down for a second. I can do a similar job with the wing struts. If we just focus on them for a second. So the wing struts at the moment are slid into a box made up by these two ribs. I will reinforce the outer side with some 132 ply both sides. And if I finally decide to keep these locked together, then these will be glued in place. However, if I decide that I need to take them apart, I'll make a similar plate to the one I've just described, and this through strut will simply pass through the middle wing. In a passive form, it won't be attached to it, but will be attached to the lower wing and the upper wing. That will sort of increase the options for storage, etc. But I'm a great fan in getting to the field and getting flying as soon as I arrive, so the quicker I can make that process, the better. The way they are at the moment, if I just show you, I can tilt this to get the required angle of attack, and it should be all three wings neutral. The lower wing at the moment is at 0 degrees, middle wing the same, the upper wing just needs to be mounted in that way. And what I'll do is I'll produce a jig for each end of the wing to ensure that the upper wing is parallel to the middle one. And then once I've made that decision, I can mark through onto the plate, which will now be bolted in place through the hole, the position that needs drilling out of the aluminium bars. Now all that's for the future. Once I've sorted it out in my own head, what I tend to do is I'm happy with it and I can leave it. And now I'm happy that I've solved this conundrum of how to do the cabanes, I think I can move ahead. Next job's going to be a final look over the fuselage, and I think I might actually get this covered just to see the physicality of what it looks like, and then I'll start covering the rest of the plane. Colour schemes to come. I've got some ideas which I'll share with you once I've made the final decision. But there you go. The Fokker DR1 fills a lot of space in the living room, and I hope it's going to fill a lot of space on the airfield. I'm really looking forward to this now. It looks like it's coming together. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the journey so far and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so, and give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, my rambling. Take care, get flying if you can, and if you can't, let's get creative.